Okay, so I'm going to try to go through your video and help out Steven. So first of all, I'm not getting any audio, so unfortunately, I'm based on the visuals. I'm having to kind of guesstimate kind of what you might be having trouble with. So um, again, I'm going to look at taking your email, taking some of the things that are having trouble. I'm looking at this video, and let's talk about all these different things. So first things first. Scaling. Scaling's weird in 3ds Max. So when you have an object, let's say like this guy here, and let's say I want to move this to the top of my pyramid, right? And I want it to match up with the top, and I want it to kind of scale up. So first things first, I'm gonna just hit align and click on the pyramid, and we'll do center, center. So it's right in the middle of my pyramid, and then I'm going to kind of move it up to here. Now this is a primitive object, so I could scale it within the primitive object, but that doesn't help us. That's not what you're having problems with, right? I'm gonna say it's too big. If I go to the scale tool and I actually scale it down in Max, this is a weird thing Max does. So this ball, Max is seeing it now. I scaled it down, not as a smaller ball, but as a larger ball that is scaled to a mathematical percentage smaller than what it originally looked like. For all intents and purposes, that ball is the same size as it started. It just looks smaller, right? It's being scaled consistently while it's in Max with math. This is a nightmare for animation, right? This is the worst thing. Again, scale tool up here, I absolutely hate. Move and rotate don't work this way. Scale is horrible. Once we scale something down and we want to make it actually smaller, like set it, be like, okay, I scaled it, now it's what I want, make it permanent. You have to do one more step. You have to come over here to the little wrench and come over here to reset X form and click this. What that button does is it'll add this modifier, reset X form, and now I can right click it and collapse it if we don't want to worry about messing that up. You know, I'll just right click and convert it to edit poly, and it'll collapse it down. What reset X form does is basically it resets the rotation, the scale, and the positions back to 0. Now, for position and rotation, that's not quite as big of a deal. But for scale, this is huge. Resetting the X form is vitally important if you're ever using the scale tool, because without it, it is just consistently scaling it in live time, and that math is going to break everything. So for your hair here in your video, I see you grab his hair and you kind of scale it up or down. That's great. When you have it to where you want and you like the look of it, again, you're going to want to right click. I'm sorry, not right click. You want to go over here to the little like wrench, and you're going to want to click reset X form. Now in this example for the hair, you're going to want to link the hair to the head. So like, let's pretend this is your hair. I'm going to go to my link tool, which is up here, looks like a chain, and I'm going to click on it and drag this little chain to my pyramid. That's going to create a hierarchical parent relationship. What that means basically is, look over here, you can see pyramid is here, sphere is here. Now wherever pyramid moves, because it's the parent, the sphere will go with it. Now this is a permanent link. There are some tools that you can use, like animation tools like a link constraint, and even inside Biped itself has some linking tools to make a non-permanent link. So if you wanted your character to like walk over and grab something and pick it up, that would be like a non-permanent link. This would be like you don't want their hair to come off their head. That's a permanent link. Again, that's what that chain does. Now, looking at the rest of this, the whole room and everything is gray. It looks like that's because it's frozen. So if you have an object and you click the little like freeze button here, it's going to show everything is in gray. It makes it so you can't click on it, which is great, but to see the color, you're going to have to unfreeze it. Okay? You can right click on an object, go to object properties, and turn off show frozen in gray. Okay? If you turn that off and then hit freeze, which is the same as hitting this snowflake, this will freeze without it being gray. Okay? So now I can select it, and now I can't, but you can see it's not gray. So that could be what's happening there. As far as the material showing up, so let's say I have a material. I don't have one yet, but let's make one real quick. Again, I'm under my base. We're just in OpenPBR, which is the newest version. And again, I'm going to go to bitmap so I can find one. And I'll just find some random picture I downloaded or something we can use for this. There's some stuff from a project. Here, let's go to downloads. I have tons of these. Here, I just did a DeLorean car. You know, I'll grab this guy. Okay, so if I want this picture and I want it to show up on this object, right? So first of all, let's go back up to our main thing so you can see it. This button, which you probably have already played with before, this is the apply button. So it's going to apply it. Boom. Now here it's showing up, which is great, but yours isn't. Could be a couple of reasons. Let me explain what could be wrong. So again, when you apply it, this little button is turned on right here. Again, it looks like a blue waffle on a gray background. Playing through your animation, you're at the sub-object level, so it's hard to say if it's turned off or on. And again, I'm kind of going through your video here. Yeah, it's hard to say. Again, your video has no audio, so I'm not hearing anything you're saying. But if this is turned off, the picture will not show up. This shows all the maps, right? It shows shaded. If you're inside the material itself, you can end up turning it on or off as well. So sometimes if you've done that and then I come back out, it may not show it. Again, check to see if this is turned on, okay? There are some other instances that can prevent the material from showing up. Also, when I'm looking at your material editor, right, notice that right now, again, I can't really, let's move you over here. There you go. So let's make sure that I'm recording the right screen, right? So right here, notice in your video, these look flat. They don't look like balls, right? These are maps. Maps cannot be applied to an object directly. They have to be inside a material. So for example, if again, we'll come back over to my downloads folder and you know, here, you know, I don't know if I have a, here we go. Let me grab one of these other pictures. If I grab this and drag this here, and I put it on a material. That's fine. We'll just do it this way. If I pull this out. Okay, so if I pulled that out, this is a map. Notice it's not on a sphere. If I wanted to grab this thing and I have this thing selected, I can't apply it because this is just a part of a material. It's not the actual material. So I have to have a material like this one that has this picture inside of it to apply it. So if you're trying to apply this directly to something, it's not going to work, right? Because this is just a map. It's the picture, not the material itself. To apply the picture to something, I have to find my material and add it in here, like right here in base, okay? Now when you do drag and drop, like you can see when I drag one of these over here, it should automatically add it to this slot, right? You can see the little M here. You know, again, here it is, right? It should automatically do that. Okay, but for some reason, again, in your video, I'm not sure all the particulars of what's happening there, but when you see it flat like this, you can't apply this to something because it's a map. You have to apply the material which holds it inside there, okay? So again, this may turn on or off the visibility, and this has to be part of the material itself. So hopefully that helps. Maybe that's what's going on. Again, when you import something, sometimes things can get funky, and you can lose like the connection to those materials. It's still going to be there. They're still going to exist. They're still going to, you know, be out there somewhere. But you know, you may not have it connecting like automatically, right? So, I'm trying to think. I don't know here again. What's this one? Thief head. Open. So if I bring this in. It's a big one. Again, if it may or may not, it looks like it did, this one did come in. Okay. But like here's a model that I ended up making for a project. And you can see, again, it kept the texture here. But if it wouldn't have, you know, again, or if this one's turned off, you know, it may or may not be showing up exactly right, okay? So you might have to find the material and reapply it, all right? That wasn't a great example because it looked like it came in fine, but, you know, it does happen sometimes when you're bringing in like an OBJ file that it may not keep everything, right? Here we go, here's an STL file I found. You know, again, here I brought it in, there's no texture on this. If I have the texture, I might just need to go into my material editor and find, you know, again, find a new material, grab this guy, and go to bitmap and look for that texture. I don't think this file even has a texture because it's a 3D printing file, but you can see again, you might need to reconnect it, okay? All right, hopefully that helps. Again, I think it's gonna be something real simple. I think it's probably just this thing got turned off somehow on your material and that's why it's not working right, you know? If you can also do something like if I grab this like eyedropper, you can actually select an object and it'll load that material in that slot. So materials are non-destructive inside of Max, so just even if they're not loaded here, they still can exist in your scene. But you can see here again, if I were to turn it off, it's not gonna work. All right, so hopefully that helps. I'm emailing you. We have some time, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, to meet if you're still having issues, but hopefully this video is helpful too.